We're watching a very high-class player. This is when you know Villiers is at his best.
Here we are. We made it. Some technical difficulties. I have mentioned it before on the show. We have something called load shedding in South Africa. That's where we lose power for hours at a time. I got the scheduling wrong a bit. It was supposed to finish at 8 o'clock. It's in fact 8:30 in South African time. So we might have a little bit of an interruption, maybe not. I do have a backup plan. I've got an extra camera angle. And it's just great to be here on a Thursday morning. It's not our usual Fridays for live shows. Because I'm going to a place called Sun City tomorrow to meet with the one and only Princess Charlene Woodstock, where we're going to do a fundraising event. The event is all based around water biking. Now, I've never done water biking in my life before, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually going there with my old friend Albie Morkel and a few other sports people and sports personalities around South Africa. So that's exciting, but that's why the show moved to today. It's a beautiful Thursday. It's a little bit overcast here in South Africa, a little bit chilly for my liking. In September, we're supposed to be moving into spring now, but it's still a little bit cold and fresh out there. But it's just great to be here this morning. We're going to be having a very, very entertaining show, I would like to think. And as always, at the end, we'll be interacting with you guys. So please ask your questions, interact with me, put some comments on there. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, it's all about interacting on here. So I want some good questions about everything. We know Novak Djokovic won another major. It's one of my favorite sports people of all time. The Springboks started off with a win in the World Cup, in the Rugby World Cup, that is, in France. Very proud of the boys against Scotland. They had a good game, not a pretty game, but a good game. And then we're going to be covering the Asia Cup, South Africa, Australia, England, New Zealand, and a whole lot more. Without further ado, let's move into AB React. It's good to be here. I love this. All right, first up, there's the Springboks with the first win against Scotland. I think the final score was 18-3. As I mentioned, it's not the prettiest game I've ever watched in my life, but our very clever director of rugby, Rassie Erasmus, and coach Jacques Nienaber had a fantastic game plan in place. I think we suffocated Scotland. There's a picture of Damien de Allende as our inside centre, very strong guy, generally goes over the advantage line and really gets momentum for our forwards to get behind that ball, get a nice clean ball for the backs again to run right into opposition teams. Yes, great start for the Springboks. We're very happy with the win. I was a bit worried about Scotland because they've been playing some good rugby of late. But it's all to play for. There's so many teams in contention. But I would like to think our Springboks are in a really good place. There's a big game not coming up this weekend. It is still an important game. We're playing Romania. We should be okay in that game. I see there's been a lot of changes made in the side. But the big one coming in not so long is Ireland, which is another must-win for us to get ourselves, hopefully, at the top of the log, which will make our road a little bit easier. Not really easier, because we'll either face, I think, the All Blacks or France in the quarterfinals. Now, if you know rugby well, that's not an ideal situation. But at the end of the day, the Boks are in a good place, and it's always important in big tournaments like this just to keep it in-house, focus on what you can do best. And I think that'll be the focus for a lot of the cricket teams going into the World Cup as well. There's always outside noise in big tournaments. So the Boks will be making sure that they have the focus in-house and thinking about how they can improve instead of what others are doing and what the road ahead will be. So let's move on to the next clip then. That's Damien de Allende. This is Manie Libbok of Fly-Off, number 10. I used to play Fly-Off as well. Let me just hit this video and show you a bit of skill. He's not even looking at the ball, and a perfect a pass kick, I think that's what you call it, to the winger there. Or was it Damon Willems? No, it is the winger, Kurtley Arendse, and a fantastic try for the Springboks. That broke the shackles and sort of put Scotland on the back foot. But just a fantastic kick. If you could look that up maybe on X, you'll see that he was literally, I don't know if you've seen it in soccer or football, where guys look the one way and pass it the other way to sort of trick the opposition in a way. And that's what Manie Libbok did there. He's a very skillful fly-off. And we all back him to have a fantastic World Cup. Moving on to the next one then on AB React is our Springbok. I think it's the director. That's his role. That's what you call it. He used to be our coach, Rassie Erasmus. He's been pretty controversial around the rugby world and the rugby circles. Not a lot of people like him. Our South Africans love him because he's won us a World Cup, that last one, and he's there again to hopefully take us all the way. But look at this. He used to be the Springbok flanker, number 6, and he's also won a World Cup when he was playing in 1995, and there he is showing off his skills. He's still got it, old Rassie Erasmus. The Boks always having fun. They're a happy group, and they're playing fantastic rugby. We're very proud of them, and we're looking forward to this game coming up on this weekend against Romania. I think it's more of a momentum builder than a threat to us, but we'll always respect the opposition. I have no idea what Romania can offer on the day, but I'm pretty confident we'll be okay if we stick to our basics and do what we do best, and that's to play good rugby. All righty then, moving on to the next one. My favorite clip of the week, Novak Djokovic. Definitely my favorite sportsman at the moment in the world. And this is one of the reasons why I like him. And not a lot of people enjoy this guy for some reason. I don't know why people don't like the best. But Novak is an emotional character, which I always like to see the human side in sports people. I was very similar to this. I'm still the same. If I watch a good movie or listen to a good song in the car, I'll just burst out into tears. It's more a thing about respecting life, respecting nature, respecting your talent, respecting love from other people. And that's exactly what we see from Jocko here. If we hit that clip, you'll see the emotion on his face after he's won his 24th major. What a fantastic achievement. And I'm very lucky to call myself a fan of this guy. Look at that. He returned to Serbia, and the man just can't keep his tears back. I'm almost bursting out into tears here. I love this guy. He's a fighter on the court and is a very gentle giant of a human being off the court. Family man. If we move on to the next clip, I think we'll see that final point in the major as he clinched his 24th major title. And just a fantastic athlete, fitness-wise, playing the big moments. He's got the all-round game. It's not always flashy. There you see a very subdued celebration. You normally see him shouting to his fans and his team, but showing respect to Medvedev here, who's beaten him in that last time in the US Open, to prevent him from winning the Grand Slam in one calendar year, which would have been a great achievement. But here's Novak winning 3 majors, which, ladies and gentlemen, is pretty awesome. And there's the family man that I alluded to. I love seeing that. He's an emotional character, and when it gets to his team, he shows his emotion and how happy he is. He's worked so hard throughout his life. He's come a very long way. We'll show a clip very soon of where I think he had his first lesson of his life, and that reminds me of him. Although we can see that picking up his boy, I'm pretty sure his boy is holding a racket already, and it reminds me of my younger days, swinging the cricket bat, the golf club, playing tennis at a very young age with my parents. And it wasn't long after, I think I was 6 or 7 when I had my first coach already. So there is the man. We're also proud of him. I hope I've turned those who are not believers in Jocko into believers and fans and supporters. It's nice to follow him, people. He's a good player, and you can bank on him to play pretty well. There's that clip I was talking about. I think he's 4 years old there, yes. And it's claimed here that it's his first ever tennis practice. I can't confirm that, but it's in 1991. We can confirm that, and he's only 4 years old. I was 7 years old at that time, and that's incredible when you start that young. And I can encourage everyone at that age. I'm not sure 4-year-olds are listening to me right now, but parents, get your kids just to play sports. It's very healthy for the mind, for the body, and who knows, you might just sit with the next Novak Djokovic. But yeah, we're all very proud of Novak. It's great to see him returning to his home country, celebrating with his people. And I just think it's a fantastic touch, and I absolutely love that about the man. All right, moving on from tennis and rugby into cricket. This is what why we're all here. I know we're all licking our lips for this Asia Cup. And here's Rohit Sharma. Let's talk a little bit about him. Slow start, very much like me. I had a very slow start with a white ball. I think I averaged 15 or maybe 20 odd. I'll have to pull up the stats, but my start was incredibly slow as well. Robert was the 4th slowest to 2,000 runs, but the 2nd fastest to 8,000. How's that for a comeback? And what a player. I have a lot of respect for him. The first time I watched him play, I thought this guy has got something special to offer. And what I liked most about him from a very young age, he's always had a fighting spirit. He would not back down to anyone. I think of a test match in Durban and Kingsmead where he just wouldn't stand back to Dale Steyn or Morné Morkel or any of our fast bowlers. He would make eye contact. If anyone chirped him, he would be right in their face, chest out. And I always liked that. At the time, I didn't enjoy it because he was there to beat us. And he was up for the fight. But thinking back, always had this incredible fighting spirit. And that's the people that last for a long time. Those are the Novak Djokovic's of the world, the Virat Kohli's, Roger Federer's, Tiger Woods. So the people that are prepared to stand up no matter what and face the opposition, face the challenge. And that's exactly what Rhodes done. And very interestingly, with Shubman Gill, he's had an incredible partnership. 2 fighters at the crease. It's always a dangerous thing for the opposition. So you see their opening record there, averaging 87 odd with a strike rate of 110. And if they can do that for India in the World Cup, let's just focus on the Asia Cup for now. They've been great in the Asia Cup, and there's a couple of big games coming up. Obviously, that final is an even bigger one. But heading into the World Cup to show this kind of form and to have these kind of starts in the World Cup will boast really, really well for India, considering that India's bowling attack looks on fire at the moment. They've been bowling teams out. And if you can do that in white ball cricket, in T20s or ODIs, you've got the upper hand on the opposition. There's no doubt about that. And they'll hopefully keep that form going into the World Cup. All right, there's Rohit and Shubman. And well played, Rohit, so far. 8,000 ODI runs is a fantastic achievement. Moving on to the next clip then on AB Reacts. And I want to thank everyone for joining in. I see you guys are piling in. Keep loading up those questions. We will very soon be answering some questions and interacting. Here's a what do we call it again? A post on X. I'm so used to saying tweet. Anyway, a post on X from Mazhar Arshad. Pakistan and Afghanistan are the only 2 major teams without a century from number 4. Now, if you remember correctly, we were covering the number 4 spot in the Indian side as a problem. But arrived KL Rahul. Welcome to the party, my man. A fantastic 100 for KL there in a big crunch game for India. And he might just be that guy to bat at number 4 in the World Cup. Even though in the last game, I saw them pushing him to 5 and Ishan Kishan at 4, which was quite weird. If you find a man at number 4 scoring hundreds, leave him alone, you know. Anyway, Pakistan and Afghanistan, bit of a worry there going into the World Cup with a number 4 not really scoring a lot of runs. Pakistan are now looking to add Saad Shakil in the 11. It remains to be seen at which position he'll bat. Ideally, it should be number 4. This is not the time to be playing around with your lineup. This is the time to be finding your starting 11 for the World Cup. But let's hope Pakistan will find that solid number 4 and also Afghanistan and score some runs in that position. We know how important number 4 is. It's almost like the glue of the team. It's in the middle of that top and middle order, back end. It's the guy to keep things together, especially if you're 20 for 2 and under a bit of pressure, or even 150 for 2, understanding it's time to inject some momentum. So number 4 is really a pivotal position. It's a guy that can play all kind of games. You know, he can attack, he can hold it back, he can absorb pressure, he can apply pressure. So let's see what Pakistan and Afghanistan work out before the World Cup. Moving on to the next one then, with this Asia Cup. Oh no, we finished with the Asia Cup. There's a big game coming up, Sri Lanka and Pakistan, if I'm not mistaken, and India and Bangladesh. I think India already through, but it's going to be very interesting to see who India will find play in that final. Yes, Themba Bavuma in that Australian series. Finally, South Africa get a win. It was a fantastic win. We know Aiden Markram also scored 100, and Themba's been incredibly consistent for us as captain in the top order. There's the 100 he scored, 46 and 57. He'll be upset about that 46 and 57 because I know he'll want to push on. His ODI record is fantastic, though. He's been very consistent, and it bodes very well for the Proteas heading into the World Cup. And there's a post by Werner based on how much our pace bowlers have struggled. I would say that going in with both Shamsi and Maharaj in most matches would just make sense. And I absolutely agree with that. Even in South African conditions, like they did in that last game in Potchefstroom, they bowl very well in tandem. If Shamsi's having an off day, Maharaj comes on and takes some wickets, and then Shamsi comes back again and picks up the tail, or vice versa. They're a very nice combination. And going into the World Cup, there's absolutely no doubt that the both of them will be playing most games together. Just fantastic. And hopefully our seam bowlers will be finding some form, because you do need to take some wickets in those first 5 to 10 overs. It really just gets the momentum behind the bowling side. It allows that inner ring to squeeze a bit more and to really apply pressure on the batters, when they get off to a flyer, the inner ring tends to push out to the circle. There's a lot of easy ones, and the boundaries just come whenever the guys need a boundary almost. So the batting team is dominating then. Hopefully our seamers will find some form, but Shamsi and Maharaj, fantastic. And the Proteas on the right track again after that fantastic win. And Aiden Markram, you guys have heard me talk about him before. What an incredible 100 of 76 odd balls. Very happy for the guy. He's been under pressure. He's been under the fire over here in South Africa, and people saying he's underperforming, but that 100 would have taken a lot of pressure off of him, and we know what he's capable of. I can't wait to watch him play in the next one and heading into that World Cup with a bit of form. Then another post here by Daniel. To make Australia's World Cup squad without the advent of an injury, Marnus Labuschagne must either change his name to Steve Smith, keep wicket, bowl fast, or hit more sixes. Pretty funny from Dan there. Yes, unfortunately, we're not seeing Marnus in that starting or in that squad, the World Cup squad at the moment, which is very disappointing, I think, for all cricket lovers, because what a player he is. And I'm a bit biased maybe because he's a former South African as well. I love watching him play. Very busy at the crease, and it's a fantastic player. He scored a lot of runs here in the series against South Africa. So it's a big blow for him not to be in that squad, but it's not over yet. The 28th of September is when all teams will finalize their squads. And maybe we'll see Marnus there, who knows? If you keep scoring runs, that's the only way you can knock the door down in life, in cricket, in anything, is to keep applying the pressure, keep performing, keep doing the small things right. And if you keep scoring runs, the Australian selectors will have a hard time leaving him out, because he's an experienced campaigner. He's a very good player of spin. And over there in India, I think he'll have a big hand to play for the Aussies. So let's hope Marnus makes it. It's difficult not to see him in that squad at the moment. Moving on to the next clip then. We see what an incredible catch from Sean Abbott, playing a bit of Jonty Rhodes skills on the bat. And yeah, he's been really good for Australia. Ellis getting that wicket. Moving on to the next one then on AB Reacts. And the final clip of the day before we go into answering some questions and interacting with you guys. I want to hear what your opinions of everything that I've mentioned. And remember, we've covered a bit of rugby, tennis, and also cricket. And I'll take any question about life, about whatever. Here's the Black Caps squad announcement, World Cup squad announcement. And this, I feel, was a very, very special touch. Let's have a look at this video then. I'm not sure if the audio is coming through, but we had the families involved here. And look at that. How special is that? That is just incredible. If I'm not mistaken, there's no audio, but you can find it on the Black Caps X account. And you see all the families having a little special message there for the players who made it to the World Cup squad for the Black Caps. The Black Caps in a little bit of up and down form at the moment. Kane Williamson also injury doubt. If he's not there, then Tom Latham will slot in as captain. But I'm pretty sure they will want Kane Williamson there. We know what he can do, and he's a rock in that team. They took a big loss to England in that last game, so they'll be a little bit worried, not really scoring the runs or getting the wickets at the moment. But we know what the Black Caps are all about. They're fighters. They always stand up in big games. They've been playing some good cricket over the last 12 to 24 months, and I'm pretty sure we'll see them playing some good cricket in that World Cup coming up. All righty, that's enough of that, of AB Reacts. I've spoken enough, and I want to hear more about you. I need some breaks in between my sentences. So I want to see some comments. Please post your comments in the live chat box, and I'll be answering as many as I can. And it's great to see all of you here today. Thanks for joining me on the 360 Live show. It's great to be back, even though it's one day early on a Thursday. It's just nice to be here. So let's move on to the questions then. love interacting with you people. The Lionheart, I've heard of you before. It's great to see you on here before. What are your thoughts on Keshav Maharaj's performance against Australia? Could you share your thoughts on Maharaj and Shamsi versus Jadeja and Kuldeep? Kuldeep bowling really well at the moment. We see he's changed his action quite a lot. He's coming in a lot faster with a straighter run-up and a lot more action at the crease. You don't want to be too slow as a wrist spinner. We see Rashid Khan has had a lot of success in his career by bowling fast and turning it both ways. Kuldeep, I've found, has always been a little bit on the slower side, which can be great as long as you get enough momentum on the ball so that the batter can be a little bit rushed. And when you lose that momentum, the batter's got time to adjust. Two really good spin options here for both teams, Maharaj, Shamsi, and Jadeja and Yadav. Very similar, wrist spinner and also finger spinner combining. And the finger spinners are always a lot different to the wristies. Finger spinners control the game a bit more. They play at their pace, where I feel with the wrist spinner, it's all about rhythm for them, and they almost stay in their bubble. They're never really going to try and rush the bowlers by bowling fast, get back to the mark, bowl another one. You see Jadeja doing that really well. When the batter looks up, he's ready to bowl, and he always wants to rush a batter and get a few dots in, and that's how he creates his pressure. Same with Maharaj. He plays the rhythm of the game, where a wrist spinner, they're always attacking. They think of how they're going to get the next wicket. Should I put a slip in? So they take their time a bit more, look around, and it's all about slowing down in a way, And maybe Rashid is the only wrist spinner that's a lot different, but Kuldeep Yadav and Tabraiz Shamsi, you'll see taking their time, talking to the captain, all about taking wickets for them and not really about slowing things down. I'm slowing the run rate down, where the finger spinners will try and do that. They rush you. They go fast through the overs. They bowl 2 to 3 minute overs, especially Jadeja is one of the fastest threes over. I've always felt that was really disturbing to face, I would look up and he'll be right there. There's almost no time to think. But great pairings for both India and South Africa going into that World Cup. Both pairs are on really good form. Thanks, Lionheart. Moving on to the next question then. Sai Kiran, thanks for that. Hi, AB, big fan. Could you talk more about KL Rahul? You've seen him for RCB. Virat and KL running reminded me of you and Virat for RCB. They understand each other, and that's always great to have a batting pair where you understand each other's games. I've always known where Virat won at his ones, so I would just know the bowler settling in on a line and length going across him, and I would know he's looking down to third man. So I would really just read his lines and his intentions. Same with KL and Virat. They just bat beautifully together. They understand each other. They understand the rhythm of the game and what's required for the team. They're smart players, very experienced. And it's just great to see KL get that 100 at the number 4 position. And I want India to bat him there. Give the guy a chance to really get used to that position, to understand the rhythm of his game and how he's going to operate at that position and how he's going to ultimately win games of cricket for India. And it reminds me a bit of Aiden Markram, who was also under a lot of pressure, both scoring hundreds, both Aiden and KL. So I'm very happy for both those players. They remind me of each other. They play a similar kind of brand of cricket, and it's great to watch the two of them, and it's great to watch KL scoring that 100. So thanks for that, side. Moving on to the next one then. Gurjesh Tripathi. Markram has shown what a great player he is. If he can play shots well in every match with such a clear mind, and Jansen has the potential to become a great all-rounder. Yes, we briefly covered that. We saw Jansen and Markram bat together in that last game. Markram was on 100, and Jansen came in, and he didn't stop the momentum. He kept applying the pressure on the opposition. And that to me is just smart batting. He understood the situation. And as a batter, and especially at the back end, you need to understand what the team needs and what the situation of the game is. And I think Marco Jansen has a very clear understanding of the game. He can absorb the pressure when we have lost a lot of wickets in clusters, but he can also apply it. And he did a fantastic job with Markram. Unfortunately, Sean Abbott took that great catch off Jansen. Otherwise, he probably would have got another ODI 50. But yes, Markram, incredible player. I'm so happy for him. Great to see him score 100, and I think he's going to have a wonderful World Cup. Right, moving on to the next one. Thanks, Gurjesh. Keshav Chauhan. I'm not sure if I pronounced it last time right. What do you think about the stability of South African team in this World Cup? Well, after that last game, we all have a little bit of a smile on our face, and we forgot about what happened in the past. That's the nature of our fans and supporters around the world. But I do have a lot of concern still, especially with our seam bowlers. I mentioned it before, we need to take wickets in those first 5 to 10 overs. We have the potential to do that. We know our bowlers have the potential. Marco Jansen, Rabada, Ngidi, Gerald Coetzee. I'm not sure if I left someone out, but anyway, there's more than enough talent there and ability and the potential to get wickets up front. There's no doubt about it. We just need to find that rhythm and the form that we have shown in the past. I'm happy with the spin duo that's bowling really well at the moment. We know Aiden Markram can offer some off spinners as well. And the batters seem to be starting to find some form against a really good Australian bowling attack, which bodes well for the World Cup. And they're all good players of spin. I think of Markram, Klaasen, Marco Jansen, Themba Bavuma, they all play spin well. So I'm not worried about that heading to India for the World Cup. But hopefully we can keep building on that form, get a little bit more confidence before we go to the World Cup. And hopefully our seamers get some wickets in that next game and get a little bit of confidence. I've been in touch with Kagiso Rabada. I'm actually supposed to reply to him today. We're going to jump onto a FaceTime call. And I've always been very close to him since he came into the Proteas setup. We've always had late night chats about the game of cricket. He loves talking about it, and he wants to figure out why he's not taking, and his bowling unit are not taking wickets up front. So we're going to be having that chat today, and I will revert back to you about our chat in next week's show. But let's move on then. Keshav, thanks for that question. M4518 edits. Themba Bavuma's rise in ODIs. What's your take on it? Just very consistent. He's up and down with the formats, which is quite strange because he's an experienced campaigner, and jumping between formats shouldn't be that hard for him. But I'm pretty sure he will sort that out in the next few years. But the most important thing for now is in form in the ODIs. That's all we need to know. I don't want to talk about T20s and Test cricket. Themba Bavuma is batting incredibly well. He's our captain as well. And when the captain's scoring runs, it feeds off onto the rest of the team, which is crucial heading to that World Cup. So very happy with Themba's form. I like the rhythm of his game up front. You always need a guy to keep things together. He's not that explosive, but he's also not erratic. That's really important. He's consistent. He's stable, and that's exactly what you need from your top order batter and also your captain. Moving on then to the next one. Let's have a look. IB Sports, what do you think? Who will be the reliable batsman bowler for Pakistan in this World Cup? None other than Babar Azam. We see Rizwan there in the number 4 slot, a little bit inconsistent up and down, but he is a fighter and a fantastic player under pressure. So I've no doubt that he will come through. But Babar needs to score runs in this World Cup for Pakistan. That's the go-to guy. If he's scoring runs, all of Pakistan look in form, every single player. So I'll be looking to Babar Azam. Thanks for that. Next question then. Thanks for all the questions, people. I really appreciate it. Keep posting them in the chat box, and I'll answer as many as I can. And just to get back to our load shedding, I still hear a generator outside, which is very strange because the load shedding was supposed to be done by 8:30. So there must be some bigger problem, a power outage in the area. It's all happening over here in our beloved South Africa. Who is the best finisher of all time? Obviously me. No, I would say definitely MS Dhoni. I love watching the guy play, and the things he's pulled off in the past. I always think of that 2011 World Cup, hitting that straight six to win the World Cup. That'll just forever be engraved in my mind because I was there that World Cup. We played a really good tournament. Unfortunately, got knocked out in the quarterfinals. But we beat India in the pool games. And I remember sitting there thinking, I wish we had a chance to play India in the final. But then I lived my dream through MS Dhoni and the boys, and Virat and Gary Kirsten was the coach at the time. But MS has done it so many times in all formats of the game. Even in Test cricket, that's the guy you want to come in at number 6 or 7 to keep things together or to take the game away from the opposition. He could always play all kinds of innings. And I see there's always been a big debate between who's the best finisher, me or him. We can settle that now. I say MS is the best finisher. All right? I'm very happy to give credit where credit is due for CSK in the T20s and IPL, for India in all formats of the game. Just a fantastic person, fantastic man, a great role model for all cricket players around the world. And I think especially of the kids and the youngsters Play more like him, because he never played all these fancy shots. Play like MS in the V, and once you've settled that, then you can move on to the fancy shots. All right, thanks for that. Moving on to the next one. I hope you're all happy with MS being the best finisher of all time. Hopefully you guys will come up for me a little bit. Dylan Hope, did you want to play wiki, or was that forced on you, as you were awesome in the field? Thanks, Dylan. Appreciate that. So growing up, I watched Dave Richardson and particularly Adam Gilchrist. And I just always loved how a wicketkeeper was always in the game. Every single delivery, the ball is aimed at the wicketkeeper. All right. So that bothered me a bit in the field. Jonty Rhodes was my number one role model. I love the man to bits. I still love him. And I'll never forget that run out in 1992. I practiced that run out in the garden till I had grass pins all over my body. I would even practice it at school. I took it so far that my parents had to buy me new school clothing, because I would literally arrive back home with a ripped shirt. So Jonty Rhodes was my first role model. I would stand at point and always try that run out. And I would almost deliberately fumble balls in games just so the batters would run so I can get that run out. But then I realized after a while, hold on, only 10 to 20 balls are coming to me in cricket games. And I realized that Adam Gilchrist behind the stumps are getting a lot more balls. So at the age of 10 or 11, I told the coach, please, I even bowled at the time. I opened the bowling. Then I would tell him, please, can I just be wicketkeeper for a little bit? So I would go into wicketkeeping. Then I would finish my overs, and then I would go and field. So I did everything during a fielding innings. It was very funny, actually. And funny enough, not so much later in my career, I was 22 years old, I think, 21. I ended up doing that in a test match for South Africa where Mark Boucher and I swapped gloves. We both bowled. We both got wickets. It was an incredible test match in Antigua against the West Indies. You can look that up on YouTube. But thanks for that, Dylan. I loved my fielding. Wicket keeping was never forced on me. I was very privileged to have worked with someone like a Ray Jennings and a Mark Boucher, who taught me most things I know about wicket keeping and really helped me to become a better keeper behind the stumps. I had a great time there, and ultimately towards the back end of my career, I went back to standing in the field purely because of the leadership role. I always felt I had a bit more time when I didn't carry the gloves to stand next to the bowler, to talk strategy and how they were going to get the batters out. But yes, thanks for that, Dylan. Moving on to the next one then. Let's scroll through the questions. Mayuk Sarkar, love you. Thank you. Love you too. Which team's batting coach would I like to be? That's a good question. I'm not really sure. Any team that would listen to me. No, I think being a batting coach is all about interacting more on an individual basis with the players, checking in with their mindsets. I think the mental side of cricket or in sport plays a massive, massive role. It is huge. We can't underestimate that. And I think that's why Novak Djokovic is the ultimate sportsman of all time. I don't think he's the most skilled player at the moment. I think of someone like Alcaraz, Alexander Zverev, Medvedev. There's so many players that I feel might have a bit more skill than him at the moment. But when it comes to mental strength and understanding how to operate on the court and how to read a game is what makes him so good. And same with the batting coach. I think his role is more to help a player structure his innings and understanding the flow and the rhythm of the game. I've mentioned that so many times in interviews where people would ask me, how did you pull that off? That shot, this shot. And I would just say it was all about just understanding what's required at the time and not playing mind games, but understanding what the bowler is trying to do, sensing weakness and sensing a threat as well. That's just as important. Understanding when you're about to lose your wicket. How can you counter that? You can clearly feel when a bowler is getting on top of you. And how do you counter that? Do you come out of your crease a bit to prevent him from getting your LBW or bowled? Or do you stand a bit deeper? Do you double step or charge him? Do you maybe send him back when he's running up just to break his rhythm a touch? Or do you counter attack and just have a full go, which is the Aussie way? Those are the things I would like to talk to batters about when I become a batting coach one day. Who knows when that'll happen? I'm not ready yet to put the team kit on and to climb onto the team bus and to join in on all the team meetings and all the team practices. Team. I've done that for my whole life. It's a little bit about me and my family now. That's my team for a little bit longer. But let's see. I haven't answered your question, Mayuk. And there's good reason for that. I can't make those calls, but I would love to work with all talented batters and whoever wants to learn about things about the game or what I believe in, or not just about what I believe in, but just to open up topics and discussions about the game. On to the next one, quick updates. Thank you very much for that. Does the choker tag affect South Africa players mentally in big ICC events? If yes, how do you cut the noise? I think it's got absolutely nothing to do with the World Cups. It's all about pressure. Whether I played in a series or in a T20 game or for RCB or for Middlesex, when you're in the heat of battle and there's a crowd cheering you on and your teammates are sitting there biting their nails going like, this is a really important knock, you feel that as a player, all right? It's got nothing to do with choking. If you fail in that moment, everyone will say he didn't react well to the pressure or he choked. So yes, obviously we remember South Africa faltering under the pressure in all of those failed World Cup attempts, 99, 2007 against Australia. I was there, 2011 against New Zealand. That was a tough game, a tough pill to swallow, but the hardest of them all was the 2015 World Cup at Eden Park. I'm smiling about it because I honestly have good memories about it. I was there. We were present as a team. I felt we stood up as a team. We played well. We scored the runs under pressure. There's no regrets. Maybe we let ourselves down in the field by letting a few catches go. I missed a run-out chance of Corey Anderson. Luckily, we got him out not too long after that. But so many things happen in a cricket game, and I think choking's got nothing to do with it. It's about individuals standing up under pressure or failing under pressure, which is not nice. It is what it is. It's sport, and it's great just to be in the moment. We all grow up wanting to be in those pressure moments. That's what you want to do. And the way I always looked at pressure moments is it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to put up your hand, to make your team proud, to make your nation proud, your franchise, and to ultimately make yourself proud, and your family. When you sit in your hotel room at night, when you do well, you feel like yes, and you go back to the drawing board and you work even harder because you want to do it again. And when you fail, it's not easy. You sit there in the hotel room and you go, what now? Where to next? How am I going to get my next run? And that's where the mental side of the game comes in. So much to talk about. The choker tag doesn't affect South Africa. There's absolutely no doubt that it's nothing to do with anything, especially in this World Cup. I mean, they are the underdogs. They're certainly not the favorites going into this World Cup. I would encourage the South African team and the Proteas to just really be free out there. They go with no expectations, no tag on them. They can just go and play. And if they do well, it's a bonus, But they might have something to say about this World Cup. And I'm quietly confident about the Protea team. When you don't think about a SA team or you count them out, that's when they're most dangerous. So let's see what they get up to in this World Cup. That's all the questions, guys. We're almost at the end of the session. I see we're hitting 38 minutes and 45 seconds. So I'm going to take a couple more and then we're going to close it down for this week. Thank you very much for your patience with my technical difficulties. We started a bit late, but we've had a lot of fun and it's great to get all these questions. Abraham Matthew, I love you for bringing this up. It's one of my favorite knocks of all time, one of my favorite games of all time. And talking about choking, we certainly didn't choke. Winning this test match in Australia and our first test series win. You want to talk about pressure? Travel to Australia and go play a test series there and you'll understand what real pressure is. I don't think a World Cup's got any chance against a test series in Australia. And I think there's a lot of teams that might agree with me. Abraham Matthew, your 106 not out in Perth, chasing down 414 with JP Duminy is my favorite innings. Any special memories from that game? What carried you through that tough chase? The very first memory that came to mind now was Brett Lee shaking my hand after I got 100. He's such a gentleman, always a great man to play against because he was so skillful, so quick, great competitor, but also a gentleman in the same breath, always there to respect the opposition. Same with Novak Djokovic. And I love players like that who respect the game of cricket, respect the opposition, because you know what it feels like to be in the losing side. It's nice when the opposition shows respect to you, It was nice in the 2015 World Cup when we lost in New Zealand, Dan Vittori tapping me in the back and say, sorry, I almost got a little bit emotional there. You saw Grant Elliott after hitting the 6 against Dale Steyn, putting an arm out and picking him up and saying, sorry, bud. it is what it is, it's sport. That is sportsmanship to me, playing as hard as you can, but respecting the opposition right after the game. So Abraham, that's the first memory. I also took one of the best catches of my life in that test match to get rid of Brett Lee. In the slips, Australia's tail always wags at the end, especially in Australia. It's one of their biggest strengths is from batters number 7 to 11. They always get around about 100 to 120 runs, which absolutely hurts the opposition team so much. So taking that catch and getting rid of Brett Lee when he looked to play aggressive shots off Jacques Kallis' bowling was one of my favorite catches. I was very late on it, so I almost took it behind my body and it just stuck, and the adrenaline was pumping. I was very quick on my feet, and it was such a rush of blood, and I almost don't remember the moment, so I've got to look at the replays to remember that. We'll maybe bring up that clip in the next show. But thanks, Abraham. And then obviously just being there with JP Duminy, crossing the line with it for the team, getting my first 100 in Australia in a test match, where it's the ultimate pressure, the ultimate test in the ultimate form of the game. That's why I play that game, That's why I play cricket. I absolutely love those moments. And I remember watching Australia when I was young, the likes of Brett Lee, Glenn McGrath, and there I was facing these guys in a huge test match. And we went on to win that test series for the first time in Australia. We broke the shackles because we beat England in an away series as well that year. We had a fantastic series in India. And we ultimately in 2012 became the number 1 team in the world and took hold of that mace, So, yeah, just great memories between 2008 and 2013, where we played some incredible cricket, especially in the ultimate form of the game, and that's Test cricket. Thanks for that, Abraham. Final question then in this week's 360 show, or live show, shall I say. Windless flame, ABD today, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. Tough one to pick. Sri Lanka is very dangerous, certainly the underdogs, as they always are. And that's what makes them dangerous, because they play with freedom, similar with South Africa going into this World Cup. No one will be talking about them. They're under the radar, underdogs, and same as Sri Lanka in this game. So watch out for them. I do think Pakistan have a better team at the moment. All round, a really good side. A little bit of a worry in that middle order. So Sri Lanka can get Pakistan 2 or 3 down early. I will certainly like to think that the odds are stacking up on Sri Lanka's side. But if they don't, and Babar gets in, someone like Rizwan gets in, and maybe even those openers get going, then Sri Lanka will be under pressure, because the Pakistan bowling attack is lethal. It's all to play for. It's a big game. I can't say who's going to win. I'm telling you, Pakistan are favourites, but I think Sri Lanka, if they get those top 3 out early on, they have a really good chance to win. I'm not gonna put a name to it. So yeah, you guys do, please. Anyway, thanks for all the questions. Thanks for interacting on another 360 live show. It was great seeing everyone here. Remember to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification if you don't want to miss a show. This show is going nowhere. I'm going to keep entertaining you guys, and I promise you it's going to get better. And there will be more valuable stuff that I'm going to share in the future. I've mentioned that before. So please subscribe, follow me on X and also on Instagram and Facebook. You see the handles down below there. And we're going to be having a lot of fun in the future. I certainly had a lot of fun this week. What can I say? How do we finish the show off? A little bit of inspirational stuff. I'd actually put something on a post. What was that again? Oh, yes. It's not on a post. It's something called friend.tech. Please don't spend money on there, because it's not safe as of yet. So I'm not sending anyone there. But anyway, I never want to encourage anyone to do something that they don't want to do. But, there's a small group of people, about 30 odd, that I interact with. And I do get a little bit of criticism from time to time from certain people. And I'd said on there that one of my coaches always said, make your attitude catchy. If your attitude is catchy, good things will come your way, people. So let's go and make that attitude catchy for this week. Have a fantastic Thursday and also weekend ahead. Lots of love from me. And that's the end of another 360 show, live show. Lots of love. Cheers.